finally upgrading my Apple iPhone 13 mini to the latest iPhone 17, which means we're basically going from Apple's smallest phone to one of their biggest phones. And let's just say that while I know a lot of people still say the iPhone 13 mini is worth it in 2025, I beg to disagree. Sure, it's small, it's fun, it's cheap, and while it works well, it doesn't work well for me. It's starting to show its age with terrible battery life that barely lasts a day on a single charge. There's apps that don't display right, and that dreadful lightning cable I have to lug around with me everywhere I go. After countless hours of debating with myself, I decided it's finally time for an upgrade. Am I going to regret upgrading to a new phone? Is the screen size actually going to feel that much different? And what's it like going from Apple's smallest phone to one of their biggest phones? When you watch a ton of iPhone reviews that don't just tell you to wait until Apple actually innovates, you know it's a good time for an upgrade. It's like Apple is finally releasing good products again. But this year, the biggest decision is between Apple's three biggest contenders: the base model 17, the 17 Pro with all the extra features, and the elusive and thin iPhone Air. So I've already decided to upgrade, but which one makes the most sense to get? Personally, the first thing that pops into my head is what size is best. The sizes of these phones are getting ridiculously big, with the iPhone 17 Pro Max as 6.9 inches. That's 0.1 inches less than the original Steam Deck. What? This phone is obviously not made for people with small hands or small pockets. The Air isn't much better at a 6.5-inch screen, and the base model is 6.3, still bigger than last year's models. Phones are getting real big nowadays. Small phones are officially a thing of the past, and that's just something many of us are going to have to accept. And looking at the biggest difference other than size, which is the cameras, the Pro has an additional telephoto lens too, which means it can zoom in at 4x and 8x instantly. Pretty convenient for taking photos of faraway things, but is it $300 more worth it? While it would have been fun to try the new Air, it seemed nonsensical to go from a phone with a bad battery to another phone with a bad battery. It'll be like paying to have problems. Not much of an upgrade, is it? And with the Pro, the thing starts at $1,100. Let's just say it's a bit out of my budget. Even the base model seems like a huge jump from the 13 mini. I know lots of tech creators and even non-creators on the internet talk like price is no issue, but when your phone starts costing more than your laptop, it just feels wrong, doesn't it? Apple likes to make sure that outsiders can tell that you upgraded your phone to the latest model with new pastel colors. There's lavender, but it looks like pink. There's sage, that's basically green. Mist blue, white, and black, but it's obviously gray, let's be real. Typically, I would be extra basic and go with white, but sage really is calling my name. The phones start at 256 gigabytes instead of 128. That's a storage win, but we all know we'll be paying that $299 per month for cloud storage anyways. Now that I've pre-ordered, it's time to wait. And honestly, I'm way more excited than I should be, because when you get something new, there's just that anticipation that can't be avoided. Even though I would like to consider myself beyond wanting new things all the time, I'm still a normal person. I get excited, I still want new things. It is how it is. The box itself is a typical Apple box. It's super easy to open with the finger flaps that you tear off, then it just slides open with some resistance. Honestly, these thumb flap things are the best thing of all time. Stop doing those tape enclosures where you have to find a knife. Do this instead. Surprisingly, Apple has very minimal packaging now. No stickers, no earbuds, no charger, and all that's in the box is some paper, USB-C to USB-C cable, and the phone. This is one of those features that most people overlook, but it's a real game changer. Imagine only having to carry one cable everywhere. Finally, I can convert to USB-C, gang, and the green is so much better in person. The aluminum frame changes color in the light, and it's just spectacular. And the case is so beautiful and pristine that I just need to protect it. And no, this isn't where I segue into a sponsor by some phone case company, because I don't have that. In this case, I'm going to 3D print my own case. So while we wait for that to print, let's go set up the phone. Thankfully, going from iPhone to another phone is quite seamless. Apple has done a great job keeping you within their ecosystem, and they reward you for it by saving you time. It takes approximately 20 minutes to get fully set up. It's the same way with upgrading your MacBooks and your iPad.
Hey you! Are your floor mats dry, dirty, and all cracked up and worn out? Well, you deserve this. If you've been upgrading your phone and other tech items, then you've got to upgrade your floor mat. Boom! These are the Lasfit floor mats from today's sponsor, Lasfit.
I know what you're thinking. Why upgrade my floor mats? Well, Lasfit makes custom cut floor mats for your exact vehicle. They're not the cheap universal ones that slide around and bunge up under your pedals. They fit perfectly and don't get in your way. They're made from thick TPE material that won't curl, crack, or warp like OEM mats. I've had spills, mud, and honestly a tiny disaster involving spilled milk and throw up in a RAV4, and these still look brand new. That's because the deep channel grooves trap dirt, junk, and spills so they don't go sloshing around your floorboards. Cleaning them is stupid easy. Just pull them out, hose them off, let them dry, and you're done. No scrubbing carpet mats and no weird stale milk smells. If you have a baby, you understand. And they're anti-slip, so they stay locked in while you drive. If you're busy and you've got kids, pets, or a messy lifestyle, they genuinely make life easier. Plus, they're reusable and recyclable, so when they finally wear out years from now, they won't end up in a landfill forever. Right now, Lasfit is celebrating their 10th anniversary, and they're giving you a special 20% discount with my code SE20. Just hit the link in the description, enter SE20 at checkout, and upgrade your ride. Thanks again to Lasfit for sponsoring this video. And the first thing I noticed is the dynamic island instead of the notch at the very top. It's purely visual, and it probably won't make a huge difference in the usability of the phone, or at least that's what I thought. It actually displays a lot of information and is very helpful. The bezels are also thinner, and that's a big problem on the Mini when typing. You accidentally hit the bezel instead of the letters, causing typos all over the place. But the bezels aren't the only thing that make typing on the 17 feel so much better. It's actually the new OS liquid glass design. When you open up your on-screen keyboard, it opens up a gray bubble around your keyboard, clearly separating it from the bezel, a visual cue. On the 13 mini, the background is all black, blending in so well that you can't distinguish the bezel from the screen. Speaking of the screen, it feels ultra smooth due to the new 120Hz display. Thankfully, this feature is on every iPhone model this year, so having a base model is no longer a downgrade. It used to be that you had to use the Pro version to get the better features like this one. Maybe Apple's finally listening to its customers. Maybe they just want to sell iPhones. Finally, us normal Apple users have a feature that Android users have had for centuries now. But have they really? I wouldn't know since I don't use Android phones. But those of you that do, tell me about it. Is Android life really that much better? So it's nice and all, but what about the screen size? The one change I worried about the most. Coming from a small phone, a big screen means I might not be able to fit this phone in my pocket anymore. Or worse, I can't use it with one hand anymore. Which is true. When I text with one hand, it feels like the phone is about to fall out of my hands, and it has. That's why there's a little dent on this side. So while the big screen is the thing you need to get used to, instead of being cramped up inside a tiny screen, the apps can breathe and take up all the screen space they want. I can actually read my Whoop app properly. Look at that. Especially websites. You know how when you go to a website and half the page is full of ads, like a video here, ad here, bar ad here? With the Mini, the website isn't readable. The entire screen is just ads. At least on a bigger screen, the ads take up less space so you can actually read. Ideally, the world would just be more tasteful and not have that many ads at once, but oh well, a new iPhone is just coping. Gaming also feels better, but let's be honest, I don't use my phone for games. YouTube videos are great, but the phone does get tiring to hold up with one hand at over 6 ounces. There's also an anti-glare, anti-reflection coating, apparently, but I don't really see a difference, so it must be real subtle. But what's not subtle is how bright this thing gets. The brightness has also increased significantly over my old phone, so you can reach a typical brightness of 1000 nits, and what's crazy is the 17 can go up to 3000 nits outdoors, which shows because even if the sun is shining directly on my phone in the morning, I can still see it. On the opposite spectrum, it can go as low as 1 nit for nighttime use. You know, when you're sleeping in your kid's room because they can't fall asleep, somehow they know about monsters now, even though you've never used that word in their entire lifetime. You're laying there, but you don't want to fall asleep too, so you gotta entertain yourself. You don't want to flashbang the room with your phone as you're scrolling Reddit, and the 17 is great for it. Trust me, I would know. That's why I have all these bags under my eyes. I'm tired. The iPhone 17 is actually proving to be a real upgrade over my previous phone. I wonder how my 3D print is going though. My phone already has 1 dent. I seriously need some protection, and I need it now. So the case is halfway done, and it's looking pretty nifty already. Maybe it would have been easier and cheaper to just get a case, but I'm trying to get my return on investment on our 3D printer. I must print everything, like this random key key holder, this utensil holder, and even these shoe racks. I have to upgrade our entire life with 3D prints. But you know what isn't an upgrade? Apple Intelligence. My 13 mini doesn't even have Apple Intelligence, and now that I have a phone capable of it, I still feel like nothing has changed. In fact, it's more annoying when I accidentally turn it on, if you accidentally hold the power button, because that doesn't turn the phone off, it just turns on Apple Intelligence. It's not helpful in the slightest. It doesn't know how to change my car oil, but it does sort of know how to make meatloaf. You combine meat with eggs and seasoning, and when it doesn't know the answer, it tells me to go to ChatGPT. If I wanted to go to ChatGPT, I would have just done that. Isn't this Apple Intelligence? After living with the iPhone 17 for a couple of weeks, I've actually gotten used to the size, and coming back and holding my 13 mini, it feels silly. Maybe phone upgrades is a form of Stockholm syndrome. You use it long enough and you just grow to love it, despite all of its problems, despite all your initial hesitations, and it just becomes part of you. But at only 84% battery health on an already tiny battery, the iPhone 13 mini has some real issues, and it's difficult to think about switching back, even though it feels so nice. I can go about 3 days without charging my iPhone 17, which is awesome. Most of my tasks are normal stuff: Apple Notes, tracking workouts, calls, photos. These don't take much computing, so the phone pretty much lasts forever. I recently spoke to my production assistant Philip about the battery upgrade, and he told me he was just gonna replace the battery on his old iPhone 13, which led me to think, should I have done the same instead of upgrading? Is this a case of finding an excuse to get some new tech? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it's not about wanting the latest and greatest tech. It's about convenience and saving time. As someone who's ultra busy with a stretched thin schedule, waiting for a phone to load uses up precious time, or constantly looking for a phone charger, or correcting typos. But it's not just the faster chips and the better battery life, it's also how the phone functions in my day-to-day life. I doubt you carry around your Sony a7S III or whatever it is that you have. No, you are using your phone, so it helps to have a better camera to capture those important moments in life. The cameras on the iPhone 17 are significantly better than the iPhone 13 mini, but it's not all rainbows and butterflies. There's some things that are about it that's annoying to use. The camera balances on the phone bump and it just wiggles around like a seesaw. The biggest changes are the sensors themselves. The new iPhone comes with a much better selfie camera. It has more natural lighting. It performs better in low light. It has better video stabilization for those moments when you just want to start vlogging out of nowhere. Hello there, and welcome to another members only video. And in this one, nothing is happening. I even tried some of the different lighting modes that you'll probably never use, and it performs amazingly well with super close-ups. I didn't expect that. It's more annoying to go from a regular video to a portrait. You now have to swipe your fingers perfectly to change modes, or else you go too far and you accidentally go to cinematic or spatial or whatever. Here are some examples of random things I found. Some photos of mugs, cocoons, Allie's birthday cake. Enjoy the mediocre photography. If you're into photography, go watch a video from a real photographer, please. It'll be much more helpful. Just know these sensors are better and bigger on the front and the back. And you get this camera button that opens up the camera when you press it. Then you press it again to take a photo. But it's too far inwards, so it's not convenient. A bit more to the right would make more sense for a shutter button. You just go boop, boop. Now, I know it's missing some things like a telephoto lens. It's missing the ProRes and the RAW footage. And as a content creator, I don't need any of those on my phone, surprisingly. It's specifically for people who want to film and use their phone professionally. As a professional, I use my mirrorless cameras and my Pocket Osmo for work and not my phone. Speaking of work, my 3D print must be done working by now. So now my phone is finally protected. It's been a whole month now with the iPhone 17, and I've gotta say, I don't miss my small phone like I thought I would. I don't miss a lot of the problems that I had to deal with. Now it's just convenient. When the 16E came out a couple of months ago, the part of me that wished for more small phones died with it. And accepting that someday I would switch to a big phone was just part of my future. I thought it would be more torturous, but nope, apparently it's sort of nice. That's not to say that the iPhone 13 mini is bad, because it still runs fine. It's just not as good. And in my case, I would say upgrading was worth it.
By the way, Lasfit is giving you 20% off their custom cut floor mats. But it's only for a limited time because of their 10th birthday. Happy birthday!
So if your car needs a quick upgrade that you'll notice every single time you drive it, hit the link below and use code SC20 before the discount disappears. Future you will thank you.
Now, if you want to learn more about 3D printing your own phone case too, check out this video here where I explore 3D printing as a complete beginner. And if I can do it, you can do it.